Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Upashama Prakarana, section 53. Sri Uddalaka, which becomes a great sage Uddalaka, is practicing affirmation, spiritual affirmations. It's a part of vichar, reflecting upon who am I, what is the reality, allowing your mind to figure out who am I. Your mind is wasting all its energy over fictitious I am. You don't know who this I am is. But one way or the other, the mind is busy trying to help the I am. And so all the effort of the mind goes to wastage because you don't know who this I am is. Until you get into a spiritual practice of sadhana, satsanga, and then you begin to move your attention from ego I am, egoism I am, to understand what is the reality. I am, that am I. Egoism I am is reflected sun in a jar. Reflected sun in a jar has suddenly developed the eagerness to find who am I. A reflected sun finds the help from the water, asks the water, tell me who am I. and the water limits its shining effulgence. Dirty water and the sun loses its effulgence. Shaky water and the reflected sun is shaking. Cracked pot and the reflected sun doesn't know where to go. So that's the predicament of soul. Soul that is not enlightened. It's like a reflected sun, being defined by mind and being helped by senses. So that's the predicament, and as we go through, we'll go into more deeper insight. Life is considered as constant battle. The Sanskrit word sangram, jivan sangram. Sangram is a battle as well as the answer to the battle. Sangram. Be in tune with Ram. You've gone out of tune, come back to the tune with Brahman, God within you, and that's the whole project of your life. Once you have come to a deeper understanding, you are united with Ram. Ram means Brahman, God, the Absolute. Once you are united with Ram, once the reflected sun knows I have nothing to do with the pot, nothing to do with the water, and nothing to do with this reflected status. I am is sun. That revelation is the goal of life. Even after revelation, the reflected sun may continue to be in the jar, but it has no, it's like a mirage, and it is not creating any problem. That's a state of liberation, jivana mukti. You are in your body, you are working with the body, you are facing all challenges, but at the same time you understand all this is like in a dream, and all this is a sport. The more you understand it is like a dream, the more it becomes a sport. The senses are ever interested in the fulfillment of their appetites. They do not care for the good of this fictitious ego. The senses are just busy. And apparently, they are supposed to help you. But then who are you? The senses have no understanding. Where is you? So who cares? Like horses in a chariot come to a kind of disintegrated state. Horses have developed their own whim. They don't care who is the chariot driver. They don't care where the chariot is and what the project is. So that's the state when you are not united with God within you. Then you face challenges created by your senses, created by your mind, by your egoism, by your subtle desires of the subconscious, by your frustrations, by your fulfillments. All these create a mysterious world, and you are swimming through it, going up and down, and so forth. All objects of the world are in the realm of illusion. How can the I be seen in them? If you are dreaming, no matter how wonderful the dream experience may be, but all your dream world has no reality. And when you come to a deep understanding, the dream world is just a dream. And no matter how things happen in the dream world, your identity, your spiritual identity is not touched. No matter how many things may happen to the reflected sun, nothing to do with the sun. Sun is ever untouched. Understand that's your real state, untouched. And you experience this unwittingly in your deep sleep. No matter how much problems you might have faced, and how many worries and anxieties you may have gone through. When you are in deep sleep, all is gone. How is it? All this can go away and then suddenly come back. And even if all this goes away, you are just the same. This profound insight is to be handled. And that's called Sangram. You are again and again joining with Ram, Brahman, and with patience and perseverance. Even the gunas of nature continue to perform their functions. A warrior detaches himself from the dear relatives in order to allow himself to be sacrificed in a battle for the sake of winning higher worlds. These are crude illustrations. Life is viewed as sangram. Sangram is a war. And already I gave it the subtle meaning. It's a constant effort, constant eager urge in human personality to be united with God. That's your sangram. And you are a warrior. Take the warrior in a literal way, it's a miserable statement. But the battlefield and army and fight, this is adopted as illustrated as allegorical description of a spiritual movement, which has nothing to do with him being confined to military status. It's a different type. You may be weak in your body, but you may be strong in your battle, spiritual battle. So your spiritual battle is totally different aspect of your spiritual movement. But now follow the example. People who are fighting the battle for the good of the country in a very righteous way, they develop the spirit of sacrificing and not being defeated, not letting the enemy win. In that process, they view it's a great fortune to be killed in the battle than to run away from the battle. So that's a military training. It's something to draw lesson from the military aspect that's needed by society. Broader, be a warrior, not a warrior. If you are a warrior, constantly worrying, worry is normal, but being just a warrior means you stay satisfied with your worry. Be a warrior. Fight your worry by your japa, your meditation, satsanga, by good deeds, by doing integral yoga. Then you are a warrior. But you don't fight at all. Just succumb to your mental worry and anxiety. Then you are a warrior. And don't be a defeatist. Be a fighter. Even if it seems that in this life you may not attain all that goal, doesn't matter. Sacrifice yourself as a hero. And it is good for your soul. A warrior detaches himself from his dear relatives in order to allow himself to be sacrificed in the battle for the sake of winning higher worlds. Similarly, the chitta detaches itself. Chitta is your mind, mind stuff, the whole total mind process. If you are a sadhaka, a spiritual aspirant, your total mind process becomes involved in practice of yoga. And naturally, therefore, detaches itself from the body and the objects of the world. Mind begins to see. The goal is not with the world, not with your body. The mind learns to detach, not to be hampered by seeing the face in a mirror. And having accepted its own destruction, Chitta comes to that state in a spiritual movement when it allows itself to melt away. Chitta is like a cloud that constantly obstructing the light of the sun. Now, as you do sadhana, the cloud has allowed a ray of the sun to pass through it. And the moment Chitta has allowed, that means you are now practicing integral yoga with certain degree of success. If it has happened, an internal flare develops for shining more and more. The cloud develops a strange type of ego. It begins to experience, how wonderful am I? The fringe of the cloud is better than silken dress. Shining, shimmering. And how much more it can shimmer, the cloud is waiting to see. The other cloud tells it, if you do that, you are going to melt away. The cloud doesn't even listen to it. So that's the state of mind deeply involved in practicing meditation, samadhi. Each time you practice, the mind simply begins to subside. The more the mind subsides, happier you are. Have succeeded in meditation. The more ego, the weight of ego is lifted, the more you feel tremendous relief. And mind that is carrying just petty thoughts, now the mind carries profound objective love of God, collecting spiritual virtues, discovering amazing strengths, being good to all, not one or two. So all that becomes possible through the mind as the mind turns towards who am I? Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Mind and body are mutual enemies. While these two are in constant conflict, Jiva, soul, finds no happiness in their presence. Understand, your soul has big problem. Complaints from the body. And complaints from the mind. Mind complains to soul. Look, this body is practicing ingratitude to you. So many projects are there, the body is just shrinking, rheumatic, problematic. Mind complains against the body complains against the mind. And that's the subtle predicament. The soul doesn't know what to do. A person who comes between two soldiers who are discharging arrows at each other must suffer from the arrows of both parties. Your soldiers, whipped by your body, whipped by your mind. Again and again the soul tries to bring harmony between body and mind. The soul suffers from the miseries caused by both the body and mind. Just as a child imagines a ghost, in the same way the mind first imagines the existence of the body and then inflicts it with various miseries. Now, subtle point to understand. Your body is not separate from your mind. If you are chloroformed and anesthetized, what happens to your body? In surgical process, before that, your whole body is put into an unconscious state. At that time, since your brain is not operative, and brain again is not, brain and nervous system is like the iPad. The iPad can bring many good things, but nothing real. You can see wonderful birds, you can see wonderful foods, wonderful things through the iPad, you can talk to people, smile at them, and do so many things. But there is not a single touch that's real. If you are just being entertained by your little computer. Your whole personality acting is the same way, like a computer. In brief, the idea I am the body is not in the body at all. It's in your mind. All your study of your body is sustained by your mind. How tall you are, all the details of your body is sustained by your mind only. But that's not easy to understand. That's what you have to go through yoga practice and understand the profound mystery of mind. The body in turn, desirous of destroying the mind, adopts an evil path intended to create attachment, hatred, grief, and delusion in the mind. All this teaching is from a very advanced level, so one has to be very careful. What's implied? For general, for the masses, and even for people who are highly grown up, body commands all your interest. So how can you plan your body to go to a particular hotel? How can you plan your body to attend to your Christmas duties? Body is the most focused highlight in your mind. And body creates such a network that to entangle your soul. How? Near and dear ones of your body, They are always called near and dear, but, but they are the most, they are the source of biggest troubles. So you have forgotten your real task. Now your task is, how can I satisfy my near and dear one? Someone doesn't talk. So what should I do? Some have become enemies, and so forth. There's so much entanglements created on the basis of body identity. All these entanglements are like enemies of your mind that is meant to open itself to who am I, to discover I am that. That mind is now brought into a mud puddle of who is my near and dear one, how can I secure my money, what can I do to prolong life and beat death. And all these cannot be fulfilled. None of these can be realized because you are dealing with illusion. You cannot secure mirage water in your refrigerator. Though the body is like a son to the mind, and mind is like the father. See? The mind is constantly giving affection to the body. Your body tired, sleep. Yet this dull-witted son is ever desirous of hurting the father. But the body is creating lots of body-related realities. And the soul, having given so much attention to the body, the soul has to suffer a lot. The father has given so much power to his son. I'm talking about the father like Aurangzeb, rather Shahjahan. Anyway, I'm done talking about the historical where son outwits the father, puts the father into prison for his sake, for his own advantage. The body acts like an ingracious son for your soul, for your mind. Mind gathers karmic seeds on the basis of the body. And the body in turn generates karmic entanglements for the mind, that they mutually hurt each other. Mind-body relation creates lots of samskaras, impressions in your mind, impressions that are backed up by illusion. It is only through the destruction of the mind that the body can become free from the physical troubles. Destruction of the mind is called manonash, and destruction is a figurative word. It simply means allow your mind to come to a healthy state, mind that is focused on purpose of life, mind focused on who am I, mind is focused on highest interest of the soul, its liberation. If that enters your mind, physical body and its troubles, they lighten up. Understand now, look into the lives of sages and saints. They went through many physical challenges. But physical challenges didn't stop their progress. To them, the state of the physical body was not a hindrance. So sages can be aged, 90-year-old. Upanishadic sages were much more aged. So no matter how the body is, internally, your awareness of who am I, just like you live in a house, and house may be old-time built house, etc. But no matter how the house is, you are in a different set. So that type of development, that type of inner understanding begins to develop, inner relation with your body. That body doesn't matter. You are with your body, if body goes away, you are not going away. You are totally different from what the body is. And it's not something very profound. Even in your present life, you have seen what has happened to your body. Your body was just a small book edition in the beginning. Now it has grown up to a totally different size. So, but you are progressing through this body. You are discovering your own self. You are not dependent on the body. You are different from the body. And you make your body healthy in order that the soul may go successful in asserting, I am not the body. You make your body healthy not to be recognized, how wonderful body I am. But soul, make your body healthy to recognize, I am not the body. Figure it out, it's a subtle psychology. You are constantly aware of the body, you can't do much. When you are really energetic, your body just dances with you. Like the wings flying with the bird. Your body also bounces and you hardly know what's happening to you. And ultimately, it is being pointed out, you are neither the body nor the mind. So this much is clear to understand, that body causes tremendous stress on your mind. Now, what should be the resolution? Now, third class resolution, get rid of the body. And the troubles are over. But that's the worst mistake. Mere destruction of the body does not cause the destruction of the mind. Your mind continues with the illusion, and it will experience another body, body after body. And even if you develop the idea, if I put my body to an end, my problem is over. That's behind the people who commit suicide. But the fact is, this is creating more problem than we imagine. You have another body, and you have to pay for the error you did in committing suicide. In another body, you will be suffering from lots of mental problems. And ultimately, you have to follow a right track. The simple point, Removing the body is not the resolution to mental problems. Because mind is able to create another body. This process continues until mind is enlightened. That's the process ends when mind becomes enlightened. The body is no longer needed. The purpose of the body is over. And more profoundly, you begin to understand you are never the body. You are never the mind. And then what are you? You are pure consciousness, called Chaitanya, Chit. A little extended form, Sat Chit Ananda. You are absolute existence. Mortality is an illusion from your advanced point of view. From body identity point of view, you are mortal, no matter what you do. But from when you understand your real identity, that body has been your instrument, and it goes on changing, and your karma goes on creating changes in your body, in your circumstances. But your goal is not in the body or in your external situations. The togetherness of the body and mind is meant to lead the soul to the state of enlightenment. Now, coming to healthier way of handling body and mind. Practice integral yoga. The body is now led to practice asana, pranayam, pratyahar, various yogic disciplines begin with your body. And as these disciplines go on with your body, your mind goes on developing purity, and mind has 3 problems to resolve. Mala, gross impurity. Vikshepa, subtle desires that are envenomed type, not pure. And avarana, that's ignorance, veil of illusion. All the 3 you overcome in and through the mind. Just as fire and water, though opposed to each other, work together in cooking food. You see, body and mind. Body is like water, mind is like fire. And so far we have described how they are enemies to each other. But then, from another point of view, if you are practicing sadhana, you utilize them, their diversity. Body works in different way, mind different way. Water works in different way, fire works in different way. But you talk to them, integrate them, and you get tea. So though opposed to each other, they work together, water and fire, in cooking food. So too the body and mind work together in order to achieve the twofold purpose of enjoyment. Twofold purpose, enjoyment and moksha. Twofold purpose called bhoga and apavarga. Bhoga or moksha. Bhoga means your mind becomes alert and comes to a state of understanding that good karma gives you prosperous conditions. So now you turn your mind to good karmas, virtuous deeds. But virtuous deeds not for liberation. Your mind is simply following a simple formula. More virtuous deeds, more eating creams. I'm joking. More delightful pleasure. So that state, which is further developed in scriptures, you work for experiencing swarga, astral pleasure, a state of development where your body is not there, but your mind is enjoying all illusions. When body is not there, mind's enjoyment is unrestricted. As long as your body is there, mind limits your enjoyment and limits also your pain. You can't have pain beyond certain, you go into become unconscious. Suddenly you win a big lottery, your heart being weak, a quick revelation, you have won so much, it ends up with failure of your heart. But what I am leading you to understand, all that I have described now as extremes, but the body plays the part of limiting it. If anything is there, extremely tragic or extremely prosperous, body will shut out that experience. But if you don't have body after death, and you are only the mental state, mind has no way of limiting it. So mind sinks with pleasure in a profound way. Mind suffers from pain in a profound way. But that fortunately doesn't stay long. After death, there is a certain period called astral plane. That period depends upon your karmic process. After astral plane, you come back again into the world, embodiment. So in between your embodiments, you experience astral plane. That's called bhoga. You are working to create a better experience, a heavenly experience after death. To the masses, this is all they want. The mind has not gone into deeper level. But deeper level, don't be fooled by swarga. You may get wonderful, you did lots of works of charity and created lots of good things in the world, and as a result, your mind open to bhoga, lots of enjoyment. When mind opens to bhoga, it has no limit. In the world, if you open your mind to bhoga, it has a limit. Your body cannot tolerate calories beyond limit. But in heaven, there is no limit. You can drink a whole ocean without having any irritation in the stomach. Because you don't have a stomach. So I try to understand. Experience handled by mind alone, it becomes very intense. But experience of the mind distracted by the body, it gives a relief to your mind. In brief, bhoga is not the goal. It is, from a relative point of view, it's better to work for bhoga than for hell, naraka. Bhoga or hellish condition. These are the choices before the masses. First choice, don't work for hell. If you keep up with your anger, greed and hate, when body is gone, you are waiting for suffering that has no limit. As long as you have body, suffering has a limit. A certain degree of suffering and your body becomes suddenly inactive, unconscious. And that's a big favor. But when you don't have body, then there is no limit in your mind. So all these are subtle points to a study about heaven and hell. So having directed your attention to heaven movement, your attention has to get into another level, liberation, moksha. Gain prosperity, but allow the prosperity to blend with devotional movement to God. The more prosperous, the more thankful you are to God, and more devoted to God. And your mind switches from worldly prosperity to real spiritual prosperity. Your whole heart now becomes a garden of virtues, instead of your bank being lots full of money. I'm not against it, you see, I'm just giving you illustration. When the chitta is destroyed, the cycle of birth and death terminates. That's called moksha. Be good to deserve heaven, but once you are securing being deserved for heaven, go further a step. Don't be tempted by heaven. Move forward to liberation. And so you will always read how a certain devotee does so many things. And Indra comes to him and invites him to heaven. And if he is really mature, he says to Indra, goodbye to you. Rama is waiting for me. When the chitta is destroyed, the cycle of birth and death terminates. That's moksha. In such a case, with the termination of the body, there is no possibility of future embodiment. But when chitta is intensified through egoism, attachment and hatred, it gives rise to numerous embodiments. So if you continue to keep chitta creating karmas, you are bound to be trapped by the cycle of birth and death. It will continue to repeat all that you have experienced, how you are born, how you are growing. Same will repeat. You must realize it has gone through many lives, and it will continue to do so. If you like it, bravo. And with this, I'm going to conclude for today. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukma Bandhana Tyor Mukshiyamamritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्, असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। शांति शांति शांति। ओम हरि ओम तत्सत्।